period begins on Sunday at the all-day sitting. There are currently, I don't know if it, does that include you and me? So there's 45 people in the practice period. Yeah, which is wonderful. So if you suddenly remembered that you didn't get your application in, or you're just overcome with wanting to jump on the train, it's not too late to do that, even though we've been threatening you all along that you had to have it in by Monday. That was called skillful means. If you are in the practice period, I mean, whether you're in the practice period or not, you're just completely wholly here and part of everything. But if you are in the practice period, do your very, very best to come to the all-day sitting on Sunday if you can. If you can't, come for a half-day sitting. And if you aren't able to do that, do your very best effort to be there at 9:15 for the opening ceremony, which is always... we need all the help we can get to tie down the Shusho and make her stay, because they always try to slip out at the last minute. We really need you. And then there'll be a lecture at 10:30 where we will do what we do every year, and Constance and I will share reading little snippets from anonymously from all of the practice period applications, so that we, as if we didn't know it before, we are practicing with Buddhas. Sometimes we forget that Buddhas are us. Buddhas are who's ever sitting across the room from you, or who you're seeing on screen. We just disguise ourselves as ordinary people, which we also are, thank God. Constance, after Sangha, if you're in the practice period and you'd like to sign up, or if you want to be in touch with her to sign up for a small tea, something new we're doing this year, chance to be with just one-on-one with our Shusho, please do that. Next Tuesday, Constance will be giving her Way-Seeking Mind talk, which don't miss it. Please be here if you can. And then right here in my notes, it says we're doing service today. See, I already forgot between then and now, but I won't forget again. And it fits right in because we are, for these couple of weeks, we've been looking at the little book of Zen Healing, Japanese Rituals for Beauty, Harmony, and Love by Paula Arai. Service is a ritual. Zazen is a ritual. Washing a dish is a ritual. Getting up in the morning is a ritual of waking up. Our whole day is little rituals. Thich Nhat Hanh honors that with little gathas. We're not doing that. But you just write a little verse of, as I wash this dish, may all beings be washed pure and clean. Or there's a million different things you can say and do. But we're entering through Paula Arai this time, so that's what I want to bring forward. Paula Arai. Let me just see if... she has a PhD in Buddhist studies from Harvard University, now a professor and head of the Institute of Buddhist, and she's professor at the Institute of Buddhist Studies in Berkeley, California, and now she's also head of women's studies there. She's, like I keep saying, she's written other beautiful books. I respect her a lot. She wrote this book as a ritual. She went on pilgrimage after her mother died and went in search of Japanese healing rituals by going into women's homes and saying in Japan, so what do you do? They do it this way in the monastery, but what have you been practicing in your home? How do you do it? How did your mother, your grandmother? And then she did lots and lots of interviews, and then she compiled what she thought she heard from many, many women into 10 types of healing activities, which I'll just name briefly, and then we're going to go over a few today. A healing ritual is to experience interrelatedness. Thich Nhat Hanh would say interbe. Everything is flowing in and out, related to everything else. You can't separate out any one part. Live body, heart, mind. Orchestrate rituals. That's what we're going to do this afternoon. Enjoy life. Way too many grim Zen Buddhists. And there's good reason to be grim human beings. The news, but practice is about joy. Enjoy life. Nurture the self. Create beauty. Express gratitude. At least it sounds like we're going over the top of it. Please accept reality as it is. Be here. Just right here, this moment. Expand your perspective. The more you expand your perspective, Zazen, just breathing in and out, the more when something, a thought, a feeling, a sensation, an experience arises that's unpleasant, there's a ground to sit in, to receive it, to bow to it, to feel it, to grieve it if need be, but also to experience joy and wonder and alive, and embody compassion. Compassion you can't make up in your head. Compassion is a lived experience. So in her little book, chapter, don't remember what chapter 8, called Be, she asks a little question at the beginning of each one, is how can I expand my perspective so I can accept reality as it is and simply be, even in painful circumstances? Probably something we might all ask. I'm curious. Here's a little poem. Called Transmigration. There is no birth, there is no death. And yet, the hollow skull of a child starved on a desert of stars. Greed dries up in the rain and steals the nutrients. Delusion and hatred breed policies of horror, propelling planetary destruction. And yet, stars become seas, seas become life, life becomes bones, bones become stones, stones become stars, space, matter, and energy dance the prayer of compassion for children born to suffering. In a sense, she says, we are all children born to suffering. How to relate with pain and suffering is a challenge that attends being. The deepest relief arises out of interacting with present conditions from a perspective that moves in rhythm with the circling of stars and seas and life and bones and stones and stars. In daily life, peace can flow through making friends with current conditions. Creative patience. Creative patience. Though is often required to make friends with ugly, mean, and painful conditions. As with all good friendships, communicating is critical. Have a conversation with your knee pain or heart woes. Ask what they need or want that day, and listen to the responses. It may not result in a cessation of pain or immediately dissolve all mental afflictions, but it can minimize generating more suffering on top of pain. Relaxing into and riding the wave often helps things flow more smoothly. For the very act of resisting or denying conditions generates more tumult with which to contend. I'll say that again, and we'll say it again forever and ever to ourselves and to help each other. Resistance. notice resistance. How do you do it in your body? Denying. No, 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 no. Just notice it. Make friends with it. Take a breath. Oh, Patricia, I hope you feel better. May you be friends with whatever is here as we hold you. Contentment emerges when we make friends with the present and interact with conditions in a respectful, patient, and sometimes ferociously kind way. Wow. What is ferocious kindness? All healing activities only happen in the present. Accepting this condition is vital because we always have the choice to be focused elsewhere. I think I'll just get out of here for a little while. It's okay. Just notice it. What are you doing? How do you do it? You do it with TV, you do it with food, you do it with exercise, you do it with drugs, you do it with... The more we are able to abide in the present, the more we can engage in activities that heal. That's what we do, is we help each other. It's so much easier to sit with other people. Have you ever noticed that? We just help each other be here and to come back over and over again. Then she asks, how do I nurse myself, my loved ones, my enemies, and Mother Earth? How do we take care of ourselves? And I love this little story that she tells, because it's so much, I mean, of course it's about caregiving. We have people in the Sangha who are caregivers for others, for people that you love, for yourself. But here's a beautiful little story, I think. Honda-san, one of the women she interviewed, intimately connected to the life-giving support of nature when she waters her house plants. It doesn't have to be such a big deal, you guys. I feel it is not just by my own power that I live. I don't know anything deep, but I can say that I feel the power of the Dharma in daily life. I love that. I don't know anything deep. That's pretty deep. I know. Well, that's the great part of it. The more you don't know anything, the more you know everything is deep and that it's nothing special, and it's just, I feel that my life is supported by the universe. I don't know theoretical things. I do know that I am interrelated to flowers. I talk to my cyclamen. It has bloomed for 11 years. I thank it for blooming for me. I feel the mystery of life and things like that. And when I come home from work in the summer, I apologize that I have been drinking water all day, but they haven't had any. I thank them for their patience as I give them water. I love flowers. I enjoy talking to flowers. They bloom me. Isn't that beautiful? Just simply takes, I have little flower bouquets all over my house, and I just love it. And I notice when their little bottoms need to be snipped, and I notice when some of them need to be taken out and the water needs to be changed, and I just can't tell you how much joy I get out of doing it. And then they bloom, and then they die, and then and then most recently the sunflowers have been shedding lots of pollen, and they make me sneeze, and it's just like, they'll just teach you everything you need to know. Just keep relating to them. Now, here's one talking about flowers dying and sneezing, and how can I approach aging as a healing activity? You asked yourself this one? I bet if you haven't asked yourself consciously, it's been going on unconsciously. Let me just, a couple of words of wisdom from her here. Back to caregiving for yourself and the whole world. For both recipients and givers of care, turning into the network of active support below the surface of perception, like tree roots that are on a constant mission to seek sources of nourishment from soil and life-giving water, can be a refuge. It can help you feel the rhythms of change as a natural unfolding. Not in a defeatist manner, but as part of a flow of causes and conditions that includes aspects you can affect and other aspects bigger than even teams of experts can steer. Even when it is hard to see change as a kind of growth, growth quivers. Isn't that nice? I'll say that one again. I like that. Even when it is hard to see change as a kind of growth. No, 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 don't change, don't change. Oh, I don't like it. Oh, make it faster, make it slower. Growth is quivering. Life is alive and quivering. Healing growth occurs when you pause to reflect on the beauty of all the breaths you have taken and shared with others. Even if your current breathing is labored. Extending your field of attention can bring into focus the myriad forces of supportive growth at work, such as sunlight stimulating vegetables to absorb essential nutrients from the soil, trees extracting carbon dioxide and producing oxygen, gravity facilitating walking, dancing, and sleeping in a bed. Do you love your bed as much as I love my bed, my quilt? Oh my God. Such awareness can transport you to a warm pool of gratitude, a place where the smallest thing can bathe you in a wellspring of sublime joy. Did the harvest moon give you sublime joy? Wow. And these days of fall, oh my goodness, this is an amazing here. I don't know what it's like. I saw that it was snowing in some places, but right here in Sonoma County, this is amazing. The smells, and the light, and the changing, and the quivering of the leaves, and oh my goodness. Okay. And then she asks, what healing rituals can help me move through the seasons of grieving, of change, of the quivering? The little poem, waves ebb and flow across a primordial sea. Life forms, death reforms, wisdom transforms, compassion conceives. Who was I before I was born? Who were you? That's a classic Zen one. Who were you before you were born? Who are you this minute before you were born out of the last moment? I mean, it's just, it's never ending. It's quivering and alive, and life forms and death reforms, and wisdom and compassion transforming and transforming. And I did bring it. Some of you know, most of you know, almost all of you know, because I've been talking about it, is I was on pilgrimage in the South, in Birmingham and Selma and Montgomery. Amazing joy of watching human goodness and courage that grows out of deep roots and watering the seeds of goodness in each one of us. And amazing suffering of what we human beings do to each other. So that was why I wanted to pick up this little book. I've been confessing this to help me and all of us in rituals of, one, preparing for practice period, Two, how do we be in this? You don't have to go on a pilgrimage, civil rights pilgrimage to the South. All you have to do is listen to the news, even just a tiny bit, or just pay attention. So I so appreciate Paula Arai grounding us in deep looking, deep seeing, interconnecting, accepting what is. And I wanted to, because I feel like I did get to meet bodhisattvas on the trip, and Joanne Blackman Bland was one of them. One of the things I encountered in the South, I think I said this maybe the first day, is we met some amazing ministers, black ministers in Christian churches, who maybe had never met a Buddhist before. And I kind of just loved saying that we were there because we were Buddhists completely in solidarity with the whole world. And I probably like many of you, I have a mixed relationship with my tradition of birth, whatever you were born into. And the beautiful thing is the more you practice, the more it's everybody singing the same song. It's just slightly different. But I wanted to bring forward a story from Joanne from her childhood. It's called Mass Meetings. "I do not want to go to church this evening," I said to Grandma. "Well, you're going anyway," she quickly replied. Do any of you recognize? I recognize this from my childhood. I wasn't that outspoken. I would just resist and act out. Funny where you end up, huh? She says, "I was angry, but I knew that Grandma, while using those few words, meant a whole lot more. It would not do me good to argue. I was going to church." As I dressed, I thought about being in church that night and the night before. All those people talking about freedom. They were so stupid, I thought. Didn't do any of the grown-ups know that Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves a long time ago? We had our freedom. The only part I liked in the whole church service was the songs. Now that was fun. I particularly liked "Woke Up This Morning with My Mind Stayed on Freedom." What a great song. We could write one, huh? She has one from her experience of being in the South and a black person growing up in Birmingham, but we could all write a song to wake up in the morning with our minds stayed on freedom. What would that be? Might just be hallelujah or thank you, or the whole church sang and I sang just as loud. Grandma said that the Spirit of God was in the church last night. Maybe they will sing it again tonight, I thought, as I walked down the stairs very slowly to join my sisters Linda and Jackie and my brother Al. As we walked to church, I asked my sister Linda, "Why are they talking about freedom?" And she explained, "We have laws that are not fair to Negro people. We have to fight for our freedom so that we can change the laws." Now I was really confused. My teacher told me that we should not break the law. She said we would go to jail and our parents would be disappointed. So why are all these people trying to find ways to break the law? Miss Sally's son, Robert, broke the law. He went to jail and Miss Sally cried every time someone mentioned his name. If we all broke the law, we would all go to jail, I said. She said, we didn't want to break the law. We wanted to change the laws so that they will be fair to all of us. Still confused, I went in and sat next to Grandma. A minister that I recognized from a church in the Smoky City section of town got up and started to talk about segregation. Boy, isn't that interesting? A whole section of town was called the Smoky City. It must have been, because we all know some parts of town are better to live in than others because of, like in Richmond right here, some are smoky and more polluted. And segregation, what a big word, I thought. I wanted to ask Linda what the word meant, but I knew that if I talked during the service, Grandmother would be mad. So I started to listen to the preacher. It is wrong that we pay taxes and are treated like second-hand citizens. We have the right as citizens of the United States to enjoy all the freedom that everybody else has. It is wrong that we have to go to the back of restaurants and pay the same prices that the people in the front do. We must get the right to vote. If we have the right to vote, we can get rid of the laws that are unfair to us. That is the only way we can make any change here in Selma. What is voting, I wondered. Why was that a big thing? All the restaurants were downtown. That was where the white people ate. My friends had mothers who worked at some of the restaurants. They were all good cooks. Grandma hardly ever took me downtown. She said that she didn't have the patience to take all 4 of us with her. Linda was usually the one she took, and it did not look like fun. Linda had to help Grandma carry the bags of groceries that she bought at the stores downtown. I wanted to go, but I did not want to carry those bags. I stopped thinking about the right to vote because they were singing my song. I stood and sung as loud as anyone. And as I sung this song, I remembered Grandma saying that this was a very old song. She said colored people had sung this song during slavery so that they could feel hope. I remembered going to the grocery store for meat and the butcher serving the white woman first, even though she came up to the counter after me. Did this mean that if I kept my mind on freedom, freedom would come and I would not have to be treated this way? Here's Joanne. I'll show you again with Barack Obama. So then I think, well, one, vote. Do you know that vote has the same root as the word vow? It's like to pledge your life. Everybody should get to vote. Their deepest heart's desire. Everybody. And a song of freedom. I mean, it's a song of freedom when you go home and water your plants. And tell them you love them and you're sorry that you were drinking and now it was their time to drink. It's like, it makes them happy. Noticing a flower is blooming or feeling the roots of the trees down on the ground. Don't ever take for granted the freedom to do this, you know, really. So I think we all have little rituals that maybe we could frame them as rituals of freedom. When I do that with my flowers in my house, it is a little ritual of freedom, actually. It's like I free them and I free myself every time I change the water because I want them to be happy. Or maybe if you have a dog and you feed them dog food or you get them a little treat, it's a certain kind of, may you be free and happy, whatever your dog or cat's name is. There's so many ways to do it. And we're so lucky that we're going to get to do a service. And we're going to get to, I'm going to tell you about this ritual of service that sings of freedom. Not exactly the kind Joanne was talking about, but they're completely interrelated. We're going to do the Heart Sutra first, right? Is that what we do first? We do the Heart Sutra. We got to study the Heart Sutra in practice period last year. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. Everything is free. And the minute it's a form, it has a constants form or a zafu form. And it's completely free and not free because it has to live its life fully as it is. But the more we know that everything is quivering, arising and passing, there's this great feeling of awakening, of just alive, particular and so much more joyful and boundless than we ever imagined. At the end you go, gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi svaha. Svaha, yeah, Carol's got it. It's just like hallelujah. It's like hallelujah. to be fully and completely alive in this birth-death mystery. Just go, what are your plans to be happy? Then we're going to do the perfection of wisdom. Homage to the perfection of wisdom, and there's a couple of lines in that I really love. It says the perfection of wisdom, this quivering knowingness of alive that's all inclusive, is an organ of vision. It's a way of seeing. It's like Paulo Arais saying, when you see with the eyes of matter, you see just through limitations. When you see through the eyes of the heart, there's no limits. That's what we're celebrating when we do service. It says it disperses the gloom and darkness of delusion. It's like it's a song of freedom. It's a Buddhist song of freedom. Then we're going to do we have enough people to do the Enmei? Yeah. Oh, good. We do. Yeah. So the Enmei is it's a simple verse, and you chant it 7 times, and there's a little drum. And hey, Susan, I just saw you, Susan Spencer. And we chant it in Japanese, but I looked it up just to remember the words, and I'm not going to say them exactly. But it's a calling out to Kuan Yin and Avalokiteshvara, paying homage to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and thus attaining permanence, ease, selfhood, and purity. How interesting. So when you call out, you actually find out how to be here in this permanent world with some contentment and ease and joy of having a self and the purity of just a clear heart and mind. I actually kind of didn't get that to this moment. You're really asking Kuan Yin and Avalokiteshvara to help you be here as a person. In the evening, calling on Kanzeon Kuan Yin, thought after thought arises from her, and thought after thought is not separate from her, which is really the essence of her is compassion and love. That's our practice, is to more and more practice so that our thoughts arise out of compassion and love and recycle over and over, like watering the plants of goodness in our hearts and minds. Then we do a dedication of merit, which is saying, I really want to be happy. And as the Dalai Lama says, everybody wants to be happy. So we dedicate all of our activity, whatever it is, for our own well-being and for the well-being of everybody. So service, chanting, bowing, we're enacting and embodying the ritual of experiencing and living interrelatedness. Please, when we do this, chant and bow with your full body, heart, and mind. You don't have to believe you're doing something, because essentially you aren't. You're just showing up fully and completely and giving yourself. Expanding perspective. One of my favorite practices on the spot is just bow. Don't know? Just bow. Already, something changes. Accepting reality as it is. You can maybe go home and talk yourself through it and study and do all those things. But you can also just, whatever it is, just bow. Just bow. There's a chance when we do the service to do full bows. You're not bowing to Buddha. You're not bowing to something special. I love to do full bows because you just get to throw your whole body on the ground. Like, just surrender. Or you just do a little bow. Or your heart just goes, oh. Little rituals. Cultivating beauty and gratitude. Just this. Just this. It's really a practice. Oh, I really like this. Oh, I really don't like that. The Song of Freedom is just this, vouting with our whole body and mind. Just here, just this. Embodying, caring, loving, joy, compassion is the dance and ritual of service. So that's what we're going to do. I hope that's what I'm going to do. I hope you're going to do it with me. In the chant books, can somebody say what pages we're on? And hopefully you have something at home. Susan White just put up her fingers, I saw. Yeah.
Page 6.